Criticises Jeremy Hunt for slapping a windfall tax on renewable energy producers while seemingly sparing the operators of gas-fired power stations. Well, the Daily Telegraph is more damning still. Its splash headline on the front of the newspaper is "The Rhetoric of Osborne with the Policies of Brown." And its commentator, Jeremy Warner, says that in attempting to steal Labour's ground, the Chancellor has also largely given up on the dream of an unfettered free market economy. And he concludes there's a good reason why business investment is stuck in the doldrums. Why invest when growth prospects remain so poor? Well, joining me as ever on a Friday morning is the financial markets commentator and Evening Standard columnist, Neil Collins. Neil, welcome to you. Broadly, I think you'd probably be in agreement with Jeremy Warner, wouldn't you, from having read what you've said to this morning?
I fear so. I was much encouraged by what Hannah had to say just now. At least somebody's being optimistic. But really, looking at what happened yesterday, I couldn't disagree with Jeremy Warner's analysis, that is, that things are going to be very bad for quite a long time. I fear that we are now reaping the whirlwind, having sown the seeds with a series of really bad economic decisions over the last decade. And it's a sort of demonstration, really, that economics does matter. And if you keep making mistakes all the time, in the end, they will come back and bite you. And we are certainly being bitten now.
Obviously, Neil, governments have let borrowing rip over recent years with zero interest rate policies, not only just in this country, but right around the world. I mean, this now feels as if it's the moment where we're being bitten for all of this.
I think that's true. And to be fair, it's not a problem which is confined to the UK, although we seem to have had more than our fair share of it. The idea that somehow free money could last forever and you could borrow as much as you wanted for as long as you wanted for as little as you wanted was really a sort of hangover from the banking crisis. And I think that a lot of us have been warning for a long time about the threat of inflation. Because inflation didn't arrive for so long, I think people stopped listening to us and assumed that we were wrong. And now we are finding that perhaps there's something in what we were all saying.
Neil, a word on the Labour Party, if you would, please, because, I mean, this is a point that a lot of commentators have made this morning. All of the fiscal tightening is backloaded, if you like, up to and around the time of the next general election. I mean, it does put Labour in a bit of a bind. You can see George Osborne's fingerprints on all this, can't you?
I think that's a very fair comment. But I think that by the time the election arrives, 14 years on from the Tories taking power, I think the country will be so desperate for a change of approach and a change of governing party that I think even if the Labour Party says, well, I'm sorry, we're going to have to impose the blood, toil, tears and sweat that the Tories have promised you, I still think that the revulsion against the mistakes of the past and the way that the Tories have been in power for too long. I think they looked tired yesterday, and I think ideology aside, I would think that Labour will overcome a pretty large number of obstacles to come to power. If and when they do, of course, that's another day's work, but I dare say they will worry about that when it happens, if it happens.
Well, I look forward to talking to you when it does, Neil. Good to see you this morning. Thank you. Still to come here on Ian King Live, how the autumn statement could allow insurers freedom to invest in more areas such as social housing and infrastructure projects. Stay with us.
is the time for debate,
Yeah.
time for discussions,
Net zero means
time for answers,
The evidence is there.
time to join the conversation,
I really hated it.
to try and make sense of issues that affect you.
9 p.m.
9 p.m.
9 p.m.
Is the soundtrack to your weeknights on Sky News.
I'm Neville Lazarus and I'm Sky's reporter based in Delhi. We take you to the heart of the story that shapes our world.
Welcome back. We're back now to the autumn statement, and a key measure from the Chancellor was a change to the so-called Solvency II rules that dictate the amount of capital insurance companies must keep tied up on their balance sheets. Insurers complained that the EU-wide rules were too restrictive, and the government has agreed. In theory, it should allow insurers greater freedom to invest in more areas such as social housing and infrastructure. Well, joining me now is the Chief Investment Officer at Phoenix Group, Mike Eakins. Mike, welcome to you. I mean, Jeremy Hunt compared this with Nigel Lawson's Big Bang. Is that overdoing it?
Well, good morning, Ian. There's no doubt about it that the reforms to Solvency II that were announced yesterday do present a significant opportunity to get more private sector capital into key areas of the UK economy that will be really important for bringing about long-term sustainable economic growth. But that growth will be delivered in a highly sustainable way and it'll help accelerate our path to carbon net zero. So there's no doubt about it that the reforms yesterday were significant and really do present an opportunity for insurers like Phoenix, who are the UK's largest long-term savings and retirement provider, to really direct more capital into the key areas that are needed for the UK economy.
Mike, how much capital do you think this is going to unlock? I mean, I saw the Association of British Insurers yesterday throwing around figures like £100 billion.
Well, look, Ian, today there's about £3.4 trillion of assets sat in people's pensions. And when we speak to our 13 million customers, so that means we look after about 1 in 4 adults' pensions in the UK, they want their pension assets invested in long-term sustainable economic ways for the UK and on a regionally diversified way. In terms of what Phoenix Group stand ready to do, we have said that with the right regulatory reform and regulatory package, we stand ready to invest 40 to 50 billion pounds in illiquid and sustainable assets over the next 5 years. And I think the package that was delivered yesterday in terms of the headline really does help companies like Phoenix deliver on that investment over the long term.
Phoenix, it's worth pointing out, Mike, that it looks as though the Treasury has overruled the concerns of the PRA at the Bank of England on this. Should policyholders be at all worried about that?
No, absolutely not. Consumer protection is absolutely at the core of the regulatory reform. And that it was the case and still will remain the case. The packages that were announced yesterday effectively make it easier for companies like Phoenix to invest.
the Ghana against Ghanaians against Galamsey. That's illegal mining. Demonstrating against the illegal mining. Their services, if I can put it that way, into bracket. What they do, what they are doing, how has it affected our communities in Ghana? And so there are so many placards. I will be showing some of the placards. And before I do that, let me say a big thank you to our technical team, the morning show team led by Mr. Archie Hammond, Olayomi, Frank Davidson, all the great teams, Mr. Francis as well. So we are streaming live from the Ghana High Commission in Belgravia Square in London, the city of London. And what they are also, some of them are hooting in support, some of them are super excited that we're demonstrating. And here on Star Radio UK, we stand for what will help and also promote the nation of Ghana. So we're live here, as you can see, number 13, West Helken Street, SW1, in the city of London. So I'm going to be interviewing some of the demonstrators, the conveners. I have here Marie Amwakwa Bueju, and also a few year as well, and some of the demonstrators. I'll be interviewing some of them shortly. KBA Bossman, and this morning it's happening live at the Ghana High Commission in London. And so if you've received the link, please do us a favor and share. I've got some placards. I don't know if you can read it. It says what? Mr. President, save our rivers now. Wow. Save our rivers now. And there's a big banner here. Saying Ghanaians against Galamsey. Galamsey is illegal mining in Ghana, which people undertake with no licenses, and we are going to discuss that in a minute. And so just keep your dials here on Star Radio UK. And we are live on our YouTube channel. We are also live on Facebook. We are live on Twitter. It's our Star Radio UK. We are live on Periscope on www.starradiouk.com. We are also live on our app, amazing app. You can download it and listen on the go and let somebody hear of what is happening. It's historic. I believe that why people, some of the questions that people have been asking is that the passers-by, some of them have been asking since I've been here from 10 o'clock, is that they what is happening and why, because some of them don't understand Galamsey, but we then, as you can, I don't know, as you can see, one of the conveners, he is
His Excellency I am disappointed in you. Some of us, when we're growing up, we looked up to you. Now you change the narratives for us.
Okay.
You are an ambassador here in the United Kingdom. We are not seeing any effective change that you are changing. I was saying, welcome to a friend is
Star Radio UK.
Sky Radio UK. Star Radio UK. Star Radio UK. Star Radio UK. For you now, baby, I do water we are told is colorless. Kufuor Dubai and all the previous government left him with water which is colorless. Today, as I speak to you now, Ghana water is no more colorless. Uko Tesco, Uko Morrison, now super hot chocolate, Sana Ghana, anything. It is no more colorless. Why would we leave our homes, leave our beautiful wives with big breasts and big buttocks to come here and demonstrate? It is because we care about the unborn generation. Because the people that are doing the Galamsey, they use what we call cyanide, mercury, to destroy the water bodies. Now, if you don't know about anything called mercury, when it gets in contact with the human bodies, destroy the brain. So the most of the people that we are going to get mad in the years coming, we are going to see a lot of Ghanaians getting mad. Already we are told that out of the 30 million Ghanaians, 3% people are already mad, which means we have almost about 10% of Ghanaians are already mad, which means we have 3 million Ghanaians who have gone mental issues as a result of drinking this water from these Ankobra, River Pra, River Brim. Those days, you remember, we are chimney, a chimney on Brimu, and a Brim won't be known because the Brim has been destroyed. Nobody hates a Kufuado, but we want to see leadership. We want to see a man who, when he says he does what he says. We don't want to see a president who acts like Asempa Radio, all talk, all day, no action. If you love Ghana and you think about Ghana, tell your brother, your uncle, your aunties to speak to our politicians to fight for the unborn generation. 70%, as I'm told, of the human body is made up of water. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Because of small kakra immediate. Thank you so much.
I'll come back to you shortly. And as you heard, the name again?
Dr. Ren.
Dr. Ren. You heard Dr. Ren live on Star Radio UK. And as he's so passionate about it, if you're a Ghanaian out there, what is happening is that, look, you might talk about this as it's for them, not you. But one way or the other, you see, these are farmlands that when this is left to continue, what will happen is that people will get into farms, and the mercury he mentioned gets into the soil, and it will affect the plants. And already we're told that Japan has already rejected Ghana our cocoa because of what the traces of mercury and other substance they found in the cocoa. So this is alarming. This is something that we need to wake up and change the narrative as Ghanaians. It is possible to do it if we can work together. And I'm going to be speaking to one of the key activists of the Ghanaians against Galamsey in the UK. A very, very strong. Can I have a word with you? This you're live on your name. You're live on Star Radio UK, and if you can please give me your name. Why you said if you come this way for me, if you let me know why you are applauding.
And she's from Manfred, so I know Ghana very well, and I love Ghana.
Okay.
And to be frank, we are destroying Ghana just for a few dollars. People taking them into these villages to destroy, and I think it needs to stop. Every Ghanaian needs to rise up and start putting this into place and stop it. It's not worth it. When you come to the West, this is not allowed because they do appreciate their countryside and the green. Yeah. So that's why I'm applauding, and very good for you guys doing. I'm going to work otherwise.
What's the name again?
Lena Majub. My dad is Lebanese.
Lena. Wonderful. Yes. You heard Lena, a very concerned citizen of Ghana.
I am.
And you see, these are the people that we need. She speaks the truth to power, and it's quite important that we talk about this. How beautiful it is for us to rise up as a people.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much,
you
Lina.
Are very welcome.
Thank you. All right. All right. So you heard it all for yourself, and you heard Lina, a Ghanaian, saying that we are destroying our own, and we need to rise up and make it. Stand up and be counted, if I can put it that way. And so, very, very important, very key. We've got people coming, loads of people. I can see also other radio stations and TV stations coming here, and they're also going to stream live as well. But I'm going to be talking to Marie. She's going to give us a bit of what she why she's participating, why they demonstrating, and it's very important. I don't know if you can see, that's the Ghana High Commission there, and that's Belgravia Square. Let me see if I can get Marie to talk to. And okay, so I've got here our one and only beautiful as ever Maria Mwakwa Bwedu, and she is a gender activist and also political commentator, and we'll talk about what she's been doing lately as well. But most importantly, Marie, why are you here this morning? Even though I know partially why you're here.
Right. So my message is pretty simple. We are here to ask the government of Ghana to do the right thing. Just curb this menace, this illegal gold mine. As we've been saying, we're not asking people not to mine. We're not asking the government not to mine. We are very mindful of the fact that mining is a key aspect of our economy. It's part of the bedrock of the source of our revenue in the country. So with that understanding, there's no way we can say that mining should cease completely. All we're asking is for responsible mining to be done. So people should please do the right thing. Now, it's very easy to point accusing fingers at our brothers and sisters who are involved in Galamsey in the communities, within the local communities, because we know that it's the government officials who are very heavily involved, and a lot of these young men and women who do the Galamsey themselves, the guys who actually go into the pit, work on behalf of these politicians and technocrats, very rich men, business people, some foreigners, i.e. the Chinese and so on. So what we are asking the government to do is, first of all, before you can ask anybody to do the right thing, you need to set that example. You have to set the example by leading. So you need to stop the mining yourselves, do it in a responsible way, ensure that you've got all your certification, your documentation and everything in place, and then do it in a responsible, sustainable manner. So a typical example would be Akonsa mining.
Somebody from the embassy. Sir,
So with Akonsa mining, for example, we know from what the minister said recently that they had applied for their documentation, etc., but they didn't have certain permits in place yet. So somebody like that, Chairman Wuntumi, by this time should have been arrested, he should have been prosecuted, and so on. But you see, we don't have that culture in. All we can ask is for people to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Stop the illegal gold mining. Stop being greedy. How much do you want for yourself? Think about the next generation, please. Babies, for me, my concern are outside the deforestation and the polluted rivers and so on, are the children, the young ones, the babies who are being born with missing body parts as a result of the polluted water, the poison in the water, the mercury, the cyanide, and so on. So, that's why I'm here. I think the message is clear on the placard. It says, let's save our motherland. It has to be a collective effort.
Let's save our motherland.
Let's save our motherland.
I love that. No justice without
climate justice. So I'm here just to add my voice to the advocacy, and at least so that I know that I'm not just talking, but I've actually taken the action by coming here to be a part of the process in submitting the petition, so that I have the moral justification to hold them responsible.
Exactly, to talk about yes. And what would you say to people that they as you said, there's one thing. One of our brothers, I think a few years said, all talk all day. No, Dr. Drill say that all talk all day, not like a sempa, whatever. But would you say that we have a lot of Ghanaians that are concerned, but cannot take the step when they have to walk? Do you believe that we as Ghanaians are timid in taking action, or we are we don't I don't want any kind of trouble?
It's both ways. There are a section of Ghanaians who lack confidence, who lack understanding of what we're talking about, who are very apathetic. They just can't be bothered. They've had enough, and so on. There's also another category of Ghanaians who just don't want to be tagged,
right?
Because the moment something like this crops up, because of the way we are typically programmed politically, it turns into a political conversation.
Okay.
Where the NDC MPP thing comes in, and not everybody has the heart for that type of nonsense. And I call it nonsense because it is nonsense. The last time we were here for the Fix the Country, I was, for example, on social media, I was accused by the MPP that I had gone to collect money from the former president to the tune of $10,000. Can you imagine? Wow. Yes. Exactly. Not everybody has the heart for that type of foolishness. And I'm not going to apologize for my language. It is what it is. So, there are some Ghanaians here who know it's wrong, but they won't want to come out because they just don't want to be entangled in all of this mess, because it's a mess. The moment the conversation goes down that route, in terms of the NDC MPP thing, it becomes a mess. And not many people want to get themselves involved in that. So, this is why sometimes people don't bother coming out. And that's why you don't often see the numbers yet, because they'd rather focus on their jobs and their families.
Okay, so you just heard Marie talking about our actions as Ghanaians. Yes, the frustration is there. But then if you just join us, you're live on the morning show, Star Radio UK, the morning show, Archie and the team. And we're streaming live from the Ghana High Commission, Belgravia Square, where the action is at the moment. People are trooping in bit by bit, and I believe that that statement will be made. I'm going to go back to Marie, and we want to find out what we're looking to achieve. She's talked about statement, but where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? We've taken that step. We've made a statement. As a people on a mission, what is the next step?
So I think the next step needs to be attitudinal change.
Right.
We need to change our attitude.
Right.
Our attitude and our thinking towards how we're treating our environment, how we're treating the ecosystem.
Right.
We need to understand that we only have one country.
Exactly.
And everybody's protecting theirs. Why are we destroying ours? Why are we watching just a handful of the society destroy it for everybody else, and especially for the next generation? So first of all, it's attitudinal change. Second, it's to change our thinking and our approach towards these things. And the outcome that we're looking from here is to sustain the conversation until we see satisfactory results. When we see that eventually things are changing, the government has taken the leadership, because at the moment, the leadership is not there. We have a president, yes. We have a vice president, yes. We have a whole government machinery. We have a minister in charge of land and natural resources, etc., etc. But they're not showing leadership. And the reason they can't show leadership is because they themselves are involved.
Okay.
That's what it is.
I was going to ask about the interministerial committee.
Interministerial committee, Galamsey, etc., etc. These are all subsets of the ministry or the government machinery trying to curb this menace. But how can you do it when you yourself are involved? You can't do it and be such. Take some action or stop it. But when the police and the military get there, they themselves are
I have a very interesting, like as you said, if the let's say a team has been a committee has been put together, and that committee the chairman of the committee is part of the whole mess. And so, how are they going to arrest it? Get the whole setup or the right thing done. Now, I mentioned this in Ghana, and some of my friends that I met, and I was worked up. I was getting so irritated, and they're like, "Don't kill yourself, because you can't change it."
That is it. So the don't kill yourself, you can't change it, is the reason why many Ghanaians are not here this morning. Ghanaians in the UK are not here this morning because they know that this is not going anywhere. I mean, we all know.
Yeah.
We all know at the back of our minds. We all know this is not going anywhere.
But somebody.
We're still here because we are relentless.
Yeah.
We're not going to give up because you see, it is the giving up that has caused them and all of us to get this far. Because the leaders know that it's just a matter of time before Ghanaians give up. So, they can carry on doing what they're doing. We only need a handful of us who are going to stand as soldiers. We're going to be resilient. We're going to be relentless. We're going to be focused and keep this march going until we see the satisfactory results.
But yeah, you mentioned earlier on about the UK government. What the UK government, the part they can play in this whole process. Do you believe that they have a part to play?
Of course.
What?
I think they have a part. They have a part to play because, first of all, if we can go all the way back to transatlantic slave trade, colonized by the British.
Yeah.
So they've had a role to play in a lack of development as a country.
Okay.
But we don't want to get too much into details. Slavery, we are part of the Commonwealth.
Yes.
Okay. So the UK has a responsibility. And if things are not going well in Ghana, in terms of this illegal, they have a very good relationship with international relations with Ghana.
Right.
So what are they doing? They are the superpowers. What are they saying? Because if they put their foot down, our government will take action. Now, how does the UK put it down? Cut the aid. Suspend the aid. Don't give Ghana the aid. This is my thinking. This is just my opinion. Right? Suspend the aid until you see them heading in the right direction. Then you can release it. Because what's the point or what's the sense in keep dishing out all these aid to them?
Yeah.
And for them to do the right thing, they've just left COP27.
I was going to come to COP27.
Yeah, they've just left COP27.
Yeah.
We all had the president making demands from the UK and other countries from the West of the promises they made from COP26 in Glasgow last year, right? But how does developed countries or the West give you all these monies when you yourself are doing, but they expect you to use these monies for something, and it's all the environment. But you're destroying the environment yourself.
Okay, thank you for that, Marie. The other thing is the UK has got a representative who happens to be the High Commissioner. So, do you believe that he sees and knows what is happening?
Of course, but if the American ambassador was able to see, she had a conversation with Otumfuo recently, and she herself, the American ambassador herself, admitted to the fact that she knows that it's the politicians involved.
Okay.
So the UK High Commissioner cannot tell us that he or she is a Harriet Thompson.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
She can't tell us she doesn't know. She does. But what's she going to do? What's she going to say? Recently, she tried to intervene.
She made a statement, a general statement,
exactly.
and they nearly
chopped her head. We also have how the IGP reacted to her.
Yes.
So I'm sure she's given reports to her country, but what can she do? So we need to take responsibility. But you see, the reason why I think we need to push from here as Ghanaians look at the UK is because we're citizens of the UK as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm a dual citizen, for example.
Yeah.
So I can step here and step there at the same time and push the UK to do that. I think some of the responsibilities, they are the superpowers. They are the head of the Commonwealth. They're benefiting from us, regardless.
Yeah.
And so they need to help.
Okay.
And as I keep saying, I keep making reference to the Black Lives Matter. When we did the Black Lives Matter march or the protest 2 years ago, we also had the youth of the UK were pointing fingers at their own government, telling them that whatever is going on in America in terms of
the
black people going through all those atrocities. The UK has had a hand to play in it. Because the problem stems all the way.
As you can see, that loud music coming from some of the convening this protest, and the Ghanaians against say or illegal mining. Galamsey is a term or let me go back to my interview with Marie, and
so you were talking about the root cause.
The root cause, yeah.
So the root cause of all the problems in America in terms of black people stems from the continent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where the role that slavery plays.
Yeah.
And this is why the youth of this country, the UK, were pointing accusing fingers at their own government during the Black Lives Matter, telling them that they were a part of the problem. And if you recall, post the Black Lives Matter, or in fact during that period, you remember the youth started pulling down statues of slave masters.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So we can link that to why the UK has a responsibility to play in disturbing this illegal coal mining. But if we wait for it to turn into a humanitarian crisis, of course they're going to step in. Yeah. But why don't they help us to stop it right now before it turns into anything catastrophic?
Let me see. Okay, just like what he says. You see, if the UK had a part to play, are they benefiting directly from mining? Do we have UK companies that are mining companies in Ghana?
I may not be able to name any companies, but there are some companies who they benefit not just from mining, from other. I mean, I know I can't say so much, but yeah, there are UK people benefiting from mining in that. So definitely, the government has a role to play. Yes, it's just wrong. You know, we're heading towards, if we're not careful, a humanitarian crisis in terms of all the sicknesses, the ailments, the diseases that are coming out of this. Babies being born with missing body parts, etc., etc. So this is the time for them to step in. And as I said, yes, Ghana is a sovereign country, and so the UK has its boundaries as to how far they can go. But let us see the UK government at least intervening by saying something. That's what we're asking. We know they cannot impose anything per se or heavy sanctions, but at least we can kickstart the conversation. And that's what I am hoping that those of us here can push from this side.
Okay, I said earlier on, lastly, I'll let you go and possibly we'll rejoin you. I wanted to, I said, where do we go from here? Now, the question is the group, the Ghanaians Against Illegal Mining, or Galamsey, are they going to write to the UK government? Are they going to make contact with other organizations that will be able to put pressure on the Ghanaian government?
Well, we have started. So we've written to the House of Commons.
Okay.
Again, I'm not going to name any names, but I've gotten some responses that our conversation is being had internally.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of time. And as we know, they have their own business to run. So they have their own country to look after. So as and when they have time for us, then perhaps they'll come in. We've also written to the president of COP26.
Oh, wow.
Alok Sham. Yeah, and he was at COP27 recently.
Okay.
We saw photographs of him and President Akufo-Addo.
That would have been the best time to demonstrate right in front of him. I saw the gentleman that was demonstrating. Yes.
So we have photos of President Akufo-Addo and Mr. Sham, which we're writing to Mr. Sham again to say, see the photos and then did you have the conversation? We've also written to Baroness Scotland, head of Commonwealth. We received initial responses from the foreign and Commonwealth office, and we're yet to hear from them. But we will be pushing. That's all I can say. We'll keep pushing. Yeah.
But
we have written to the external organizations.
The interesting part is that when you write to these top people, you're able to get some good response. But go to some settings, as another man will say. There's a place in West Africa you write to, even the district head, you hardly get even a response.
I've had a meeting with a member of parliament.
Yeah.
Face to face.
Okay.
The moment we wrote to the president of COP27, it didn't take 48 hours. We got a response from his office. And same with the Commonwealth, we also got a response. So we will ask our institutions to try and do better and learn to respond to citizens when they correspond with them. What I would expect as well from the High Commissioner, after we've submitted our petition to him, is for him to at least find time and reach out to us again and invite us for us to have a proper sit-down conversation.
Yeah.
Because
please go ahead.
Yeah, because we need to understand what are their challenges. We need to understand what the challenges are, because as we've all been saying, we're not here to fight them, oppose them, or anything. We're here to find solutions. It's about problem solving, and clearly they can't do it alone. So what role can we play as Ghanaians in the diaspora? What role can we play to support them in curbing this thing? So I would expect the High Commissioner after the petition to reach out to us again the next couple of days or weeks. Now it's just really up to the session is this we can choose to do or choose not to. We continue our conversation and it's just a matter of time. I mean, we've got 2 years before the general election in Ghana.
Yeah.
If we don't see anything satisfactory, we'll tell the people of Ghana to vote with us. Which some of us already have done. And then we'll see what the next government has done.
Okay.
We'll also have
talk about that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Marie. And I would say that the High Commissioner, to be fair to him, he's done some good job. I've seen some changes, and I respect him and honor him for that. And I believe that he's got an open heart, a good heart to receive this group for us to be able to do what? To have a good conversation, and he will take it further to the president of our great nation.
I mean, I agree with you. When it comes to Papa Owusu, I know he's a listener.
Yeah.
He's a great leader. We just need Your Excellency to listen just a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking.
Okay. So, as you heard, that's the one and only Marie Amwa. And we've oh my! But you've labeled the water, so how can you say? No. That's one of the conveners of this group. And so welcome back to. We're going to be taking a break, and when we come back, we'll still continue with the conversation about illegal mining in Ghana. The demonstration is happening live at the Ghana High Commission in Belgravia Square today, the 18th of November 2022, and is on till about 12 p.m. And the petition will be presented to the Ghana High Commissioner, His Excellency Papa Owusu Ankoma. And we're waiting. We've made contact with one of the staff from the High Commission. He came over to speak to us to find out the time that the petition is going to be presented. So I'm going to hand over to the studio. I'll come back in about as we take some commercials, and in about 5 minutes or so we'll come back and do some more interviews. So you're live, and keep on sharing. You're live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, Star Radio UK, on Periscope, on TuneIn Radio, on www.starradiouk.com, and also on our amazing interactive, user-friendly app. Download from Apple or Android store, and you'll be able to listen and watch. And let me hand over to the studio. We'll come back in about 5 minutes and continue the interviews. As you can see, people are quite serious about this whole business. As you can hear the sound. So I'll hand over to the team in the studio. I'm KD Bossman. I'll come back to you in about 5 minutes or so. Thank you. Thank you. Your best country. Ghana.
It wasn't all one-sided. Wars are never one-sided. There are always two sides to a conflict.
Certainly there were.
This week, how would you describe the mood here?
Well, definitely it's picking up by the day, and I would say in certain pockets of the city there is really a genuine sense of excitement for the World Cup from the expatriates here and also from the citizens in Qatar, but definitely not on the same level as you would expect from a normal World Cup. But then again, most of the fans are yet to arrive. They'll probably be arriving in the next couple of days, so within maybe by Sunday I think you would really feel the full sense of it.
There were suggestions that the local organising committee hired fan groups belonging to the teams coming here to basically get them singing and cheering and being positive. They have vehemently denied that, and there's also been suggestion this week that some they're described by some as fake fans, but people have gathered outside the hotels of England, Brazil and France cheering, but not really fans of those countries. Again, denied by the organising committee that was pre-planned and organised. What's your point of view on all of this?
Well, speaking as someone who was there, a big majority of the fans were from India, and I'm an Indian myself. And I think a lot of people around the world are unaware of a certain element of Indian football fan culture, which is to celebrate the World Cup and to support different teams and not their own team, which has never qualified for the World Cup. So what we saw in most of those videos and pictures of fans celebrating were Indians who have a genuine love for the World Cup and a genuine passion for the teams that they support. For example, Brazil and Argentina are among the most popular teams in India, especially in the southern state of Kerala, where I'm from. And most of the migrants who are here from Kerala, they bring that love from their home state to Qatar, and this is probably the closest that they've ever got to a World Cup, to experience this, to see the Messis and the Neymars. So they're celebrating at the best way possible. So I can say, as someone who was there and someone who's from that background, that these were definitely genuine fans.
Well, the decision to bring the World Cup to Qatar has, to say the least, been a controversial one. There's been heavy criticism of the exploitation, as many would describe it, of migrant workers who, as part of the kafala system, had their passports taken away and were tied to their sponsor, meaning that they couldn't change jobs or leave the country. Kafala has now been scrapped, and Qatar has introduced a minimum wage that's higher than many other countries in the region. Others have been concerned about the fact that homosexual acts are illegal here. Others still about the fact that it's illegal for single women to become pregnant. Heather, we've heard on this programme before from the former Finland captain Tim Sparv speaking very eloquently about the subject of human rights and inclusivity, and also encouraging players not to stay silent on social issues, big issues like this. But this week we also heard the French captain Hugo Lloris say that he won't be wearing the rainbow armband at the World Cup. He believes it is right and normal for foreign people to respect the local culture wherever they are. If you played at a tournament where so much attention was on human rights issues, what would you have done?
Well, I like to think that I would have been bold about speaking up. The most difficult thing as a player is remembering that the football is important. The football is the centerpiece. But at the same time, the whole world is watching. This is a really prime opportunity to make change. So what I would do as a player is be very concentrated and I guess well educated on a few things that you want to do to impact. So, you know, is it the migrant workers, visas? Is it LGBT rights? There's just so many issues that you can kind of get overwhelmed with. But if you want to make some real change, to be educated, to be, I think, clear in what your messaging is as a player, and be confident in that, in your delivery. And then you can go do what you do best on the pitch, whilst also making meaningful change.
Just to answer Heather's question, I'd like to answer it and say I would have been very happy to wear a rainbow armband or laces or whatever to point to equality, not just, in fact, in that case, legality. But remember, it's a young country, and there are, that it was illegal to be gay in the UK within my lifetime that I remember back. That
the 1966 World Cup took place in England when it was illegal to be gay.
Exactly. So it's, a country has to come on, and people do forget another thing. They talk about it as being a cultural thing. I believe it's a religious belief as much as cultural, which people seem to sidestep at the moment. But I'm not party to anyone who wants to restrict equality of opportunity to anyone, and certainly in terms of the workers' rights, etc.
Okay.
That's what we need to stay on, and the Qatari they went bid for the World Cup.
Right. Welcome to the morning show live on Saturday. As you can see here, the protesters demonstrating. I've got some of the placards here saying, "Mr. President, save our rivers now." I don't know if you can read it here. Yeah, Mr. President, save our rivers now. And we have water is life. Water is life. The waters are being polluted. And let me see if I can. Okay, there are loads and loads and loads of them. At this moment, the petition is going to be handed over to the Ghana High Commissioner. It's going to happen in a minute. As you can see, the group is going to present the petition to the. Okay, so. Right. So. All right. So as you can see, we're ready to present the petition. The group they are ready to present the petition, and as you can see, the good number of people that are demonstrating and waiting for the. So, right. So, before the petition is presented, let me do this. Okay. So, the statement that the president of Ghana made a couple of weeks ago that can't get the meaning that money like noise. So money hates anything called noise. So okay, so we're going to be taking this live as you are on Star Radio UK morning show. This KVA Bossman reporting live from Belgravia Square with the group Ghanaians Against Galamsey. Ghanaians Against Galamsey. Why? And as you might have heard from she explained why they're here and also what to expect afterwards and where to make contact with. So as soon as we get the go ahead, we're waiting for the Ghana High Commissioner Papa Owusu Ankuma. So he is going to turn up, possibly, and if not, then if another person is selected, then we receive the petition, we will let you know. So as you can see, we can't protect the climate change. So as you can see, the Ghana High Court. Oh my God. You're mentioning my name. Wanted meetings because we did not that, but we are happy. Strategies about it. And they will say, saying that whatever. Please, no. We've been switched off for far too long. I'm not moving. I'm telling you that. Yes. But babies are being born. Makes sense. Into the next time around, where a new generation.
Your Excellency, Your Excellency, Your Excellency, Your Excellency, can you promise us that you're going to appeal to the president to make sure he prosecutes Samawuntumi? Can you promise us, sir? Can you promise us, sir? Our money.
One person at a time, please. One person at a time.
Somebody says, you fools, don't know what to do with your money. We will use it. We will give you the interest. So, thank you very much.
Your Excellency. Yeah.
One time. The politicians can do. I went to go to Ghana without seeking water.
We're not seeking water from Pakistan. They drink sea water. They don't want to sell it to us.
Papa, with all due respect, you are from my area. We appeal to you today at this time here, dedicated to our country as the same, to be interested in our country affairs. We are saying to you today, as I was saying, for my taking the name. Take it for yourself to do something for us. the more important thing is the only river in Zuma is river. Your Excellency. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Your Excellency, Your Excellency, I'm saying right. That Your Excellency, Your Excellency, that is what I wanted to say. Thank you. That is what Your Excellency. Your Excellency. Lastly, okay. Lastly, Your Excellency, I want to say that thank you. Thank you for. Thank you. No, but it's okay. Okay. Your Excellency. Your Excellency, thank you. Your Excellency. I just want to say, Your Excellency. Your Excellency. Your Excellency. Your Excellency, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So as you can see, the Ghana High Commissioner has been speaking to the group Ghanaians against Galamsey. It's the first time in history that we've had the Ghanaian commissioner to speak to a group that is demonstrating against Galamsey. It's a beautiful thing that can only happen in the United Kingdom. And I'll say thank you to the group for organizing this, and I believe that it will go a long way to help. So
Before we wrap up, I would like to say thank you to the team, Archie, Francis, and the entire team. We'll say from the Ghana High Commission, Belgravia Square, thank you, and for staying with Star Radio UK. I'm KPA Bossman, and it's been good coming your way this morning. Thank you so much, and to all the people that were able to make it very, very.